Welcome to another episode of Pels in the Blender. It's your boy A. Davis coming to y'all on this Wednesday morning. Yep, Wednesday. Yes, Wednesday morning. Early show today. Excited. Excited. Pels finally got a dub, you know, and we could somewhat celebrate the fact that we ain't going 0-82. That's something to be thankful for, something to be grateful for. A win without Zion, you know what I mean? Pels on the first night of a back-to-back, so him not playing is not necessarily shocking. They had news about possible hamstring or whatever, but I think they're just being cautious, and you kind of got to put something out there when you protecting the players from injuries with how the NBA worked lately with just scheduled misses. Excuse me if I sound a little exhausted. You know what I mean? I'm excited, bro. I'm excited. Had a good run this morning. You know what I mean? Shout out to Five, trying to get in shape somewhat. Had a good run. Played the video game. I've been on these McDonald's iced coffees, a lot of sugar, but I'm hyped. So, the energy up, that's kind of what that is. That's kind of what that is. Whoa, what's good, man? What's good, bro? What's happening? Appreciate y'all. Hopefully we get a good morning started. You know what I mean? Shout out to everybody at work. Dropped off their kids, dropped off their family, whatever. Let's go dominate the day, man. Dominate the day. We're going to be great today. So we going to I kind of want to give like highs and lows of the game and the win. You know what I mean? The game and the win. Queen showing early signs that he'll be a triple-double big. I just hope Willie coach and don't interfere. You know what? We could start right there. Not with Derek Queen necessarily, but the coaching interfering. Zion didn't play yesterday. This is also reason why I'm not, just because they won, you got to understand. They won, but they still are only 1-6. That's still god awful. It's still terrible. Willie's deficiencies will show every game. Every game in some way, shape, or form they're going to show. But the one I kind of want to point to was Zion didn't play, so you saw Jordan Poole start last night, right? And while Jordan Poole did not have a great game per se, there were times in the first half and times of just having Jordan Poole out there on the floor, he makes a difference. So while this game is not necessarily about Jordan Poole, this is about you had a starting lineup that you came into the season with, that you had all training camp with, that you had all, like, from when they decided to trade CJ McCollum, right? You knew what the team was. You knew who when they got Looney, you know who your bigs were going to be. You saw this team all off season. This is how I know the dude's not a good coach and don't do good work. And I'm not going to harp on it too much, but this is why the firing is still a thing. And honestly, a win, while I'm excited that they won the game, and there was a lot of things that you could see that was promising from the team that I expected that we would see from day one. But you had the team all off season. Whoa, what's good, bro? Appreciate y'all tapping in. Absolutely. Hit that like button as y'all come into the show, bro. Appreciate y'all. Dog. You had the team all off season, right? So you go all off season, decide to go with the starting lineup, right? Isn't it toxic to keep a coach around that has no player support or front office? Absolutely toxic. Absolutely. Yesterday, they was booing Willie. You gotta boo him. He's not good. So you start, even if you want to start Jeremiah Fears, based off what you've seen, that Willie Green, if you listen to the press conferences, has been preaching, we just, we're a new team. We need to be consistent. We need to figure things out. Well, if you need to be consistent and figure things out, why would you change your starting lineup, right? If you're going to change your starting lineup after 3 games, I'm sorry, 4 games technically, because Poole started game 3. But that's just because Zion was out. Why are you changing your lineup at the same time while talking about being consistent? Also, and we're going to get into the Derek Queen stuff, because Derek Queen to me was the real like obviously the highlight of the game. And there's a lot that goes into what Derek Queen did out on the court. But we have been seeing, you saw this from Derek. Derek Queen had no offseason, no summer league, no nothing. And in game one was playing really quality minutes in the few minutes that he played against Jaren Jackson Jr., all-star level center, and gave you 35 minutes and quality minutes against Wemby. If that wasn't enough to say this dude need to be in a rotation, that's why you fire Willie. Whoa, what's good, Trey? Appreciate y'all for tapping in, man. Appreciate y'all. So here we go. How we feeling about the game? I told my work boys I'm happy and proud of the win, but don't get it twisted. It's still fuck Willie all day, because you saw. And again, there are still deficiencies. Defensively, they weren't getting back. They were trying to tighten some things up, but in the first half, they were just letting the Hornets walk in the wide open threes. So there's still things that need to be fixed, but you saw the starting lineup, right, being able to open more things up because Jordan Poole's just being in the lineup, he can play next to Jeremiah Fitz. And Jeremiah didn't have a good game, but that's a rookie. But they were stretches in the game, especially in the first half, especially I think it was in the second quarter. Well, you saw Poole kind of get going a little bit. And Fitz, that they had their moments. While overall the game wasn't good, and shout out to Jose being ready, stepping in and playing really well. But that's kind of how you got to do it. The offense looked completely different. And the problem is we already know that they just played today. They're going to play very different the next game. And that's where also you have the problem with Willie Green. And again, man, this was the Hornets. Now, they're better than us. They're 3-5 now, but they were 3-4 coming into the game. And you were able to win this game without your best player. But that shows the potential of the team. Another Willie Green indictment. I think Carlo's only not been helped. Shout out to Carlo, bro. Looking athletic, looking was solid defensively, running the floor, right? When you had Carlo in the game, brought energy to the bill. Man, when Carlo dunked on your boy in the first half of the game, it absolutely just kind of sparked the team, sparked the bench, had the Hornets being like, oh, they got somebody capable of that other than Zion, other than Trey. Like, you need players like that. And you knew all offseason what Carlo was capable of bringing to the team. When you want to play fast, you want to play athletic. That's crazy. I'm personally not letting it go. I still think he need to be like, every game is a reason for him to be fired. Perfect example. Like in Carlo, because Carlo helped change the game and get the offense kind of moving a little bit, right? Like you saw the energy Carlo brought. They couldn't run with him, nothing like that. Carlo from the second to third quarter had a very extended break of not being on the court. And then he didn't. Now Derek Queen started playing really well to finish the game, but in the third quarter, when you were giving up the run, again, you did nothing to mitigate the run. It's just that the Hornets aren't really a great team. You're more talented than the Hornets. So whoa, what's good, bro? Appreciate y'all for tapping in. Appreciate it, man. Hit that like button as y'all come in. So that's kind of where we stand. Literally every game you could see reason. I could see quality reasons to fire Willie Green. Anytime that Derek Queen plays, he's been effective. Both of your rookies have been effective. And they mentioned in the press conference, you're trying to find minutes for him and stuff like that. Well, it's a crowded front court, with Looney and all of them. Well, if it's crowded for him, but you can't get no minutes for Derek Queen other than garbage time. But Jeremiah Fitz, when you got Poole and Jose, and realistically, there's a lot of guards, because not a lot of guards, but there's a lot of people that handle the ball. There was no problem in finding starting minutes and starting time for Jeremiah Fitz. Was just incredibly hypocritical to me. So I don't understand how the guy that we mortgaged the future for, not long-term future, but next year's future, you can't find minutes for him. And realistically, He's already showing you that he's better than everybody else. And there you go. Whoop, that's exactly that right there is exactly the point. Like, we were on a 6-game losing streak and went down the stretch to beat the Hornets without LaMelo Ball. Again, a win is a win. You got to get the first one. And I did not like how they was like, not that they shouldn't have been happy to get the win. And shout out to Jose for hitting a big shot and stuff like that. Because you do need one to sometimes just like exit, like, oof, all right, we got the first one out the way. Now we can focus on let's stack these. Let's try and get them going. But every game you still in a deficit. Every game you come in with the coaching disadvantage. The offense they ran with the ball movement and all of that, I guarantee you we won't see that next game. I almost can guarantee you we possibly won't. I won't say guarantee and possibly. It is a strong possibility that when Zion comes back to play, we will not see the Derek Queen minutes. We barely saw the Derek Queen minutes tonight. He just so happened to get rolling, right? To get rolling because he's talented, and every time he plays, he looks good. Realistically, all of the games we've been competitive in, Derek Queen had extended minutes. Not extended minutes, but played a significant time. Think about it. The first game against Memphis, Derek Queen and Zion looked really good together on the court. The second game against the Spurs, Derek Queen played 35 minutes. The game against the Clippers, when they was coming back and all of that, Derek Queen and Zion started getting it going. And then Jordan Poole was able to get it going, right? This game that you end up winning, Zion don't play. Derek Queen was really effective and obviously dominated the fourth quarter. So how you going to tell me in your 4 closest games, you can't find minutes for somebody who's like literally as a rookie with no training camp, no nothing, impacting winning to a degree. Like it's obvious. It's obvious. And he opens things up for everybody else on the offense. Imagine. Oh my gosh, imagine if you played him with Zion. What that would do for Zion. Somebody who could pass, create, got some size, and he's a really good rebound. He's just a smart player. He's a smart player, and he's gonna get the job done, man. The dude's gonna be good. When the Pels run the offense through Queen, the players were getting open cuts and easy passes. You know what it is? When Queen gets the ball, one, he's obviously looking to pass and stuff like that. But I don't know if the defense necessarily respects Queen. And I think they feel like typically the team, when they play without Zion, feels like they have to try to do more to be able to help the offense. So you typically see more movement and stuff like that when Zion doesn't play. It's when Zion plays that everybody just gets really stagnant, almost as if it's a completely different offense, as opposed to running the same thing all the time, being consistent. Still getting demolished on the rebounding. Yeah, that's going to be a deficit of this team. But also the problem is Willie Green is not consistent with who is playing, so where you can actually focus in on how to fix a problem. It's hard to figure out how to fix a problem when you keep changing what it is that the problem is, in my opinion. So like the starting lineup has been different almost every game. The rotations are different every game. So you really don't know what hole to patch because you keep creating new holes. That win was overdue. I knew Jose would make a shot. Not even Willie Green and referee Scott Foster could sabotage that night. Shit. Willie Green capable of anything. That was a good win. Don't get me wrong. Again, it was the Hornets without LaMelo. Good win. You needed the win. You was on a 6-game losing streak. I like damn near 19 games in a row. Going back to last year, I think they finished on a 12-game losing streak to end the season, and then 18-game losing streak. You got to get a win at some point. I'm like 0-82 until Willie gone, but they really were going to get a win. We'll see more tonight when they play Dallas, what they look like, especially if Zion play. I know Trey was salty after Jose hit that game winner. Look, man, we could talk about Jose, but everybody knows Jose could get you a game or two. That's what Jose does. Like, Jose is a game changer, an energy shifter, and it's not necessarily that you can't play Jose. It's just you have to have an idea of when to play and when not to play Jose, right? Like, you could put Jose in the game and immediately tell sometimes if he's going to be on or if he's going to be off. And if he's off, then ain't no need to play him. Similarly with Jordan Hawkins. Like, if you're going to play Jordan Hawkins, you could play Hawkins and then be like, oh, he got it going? Cool, you could play 10, 15 minutes. If he don't and he's turning it over on the first touch, come sit down with me. But there's certain people that I think, based on what it is they said they wanted to do, needs to be like consistent in this offense all the time. Like, the people that need to play, in my opinion. Obviously, your starters. And what my starting lineup would be, Fierce, Poole, they didn't already show they could play together. That's a dynamic backcourt. They could get to the paint. Poole just opens up the offense for everybody, makes it easy. But Poole, I'm going to keep saying it. Poole, Fierce, Z, Trey, Queen. That would be my 5, right? Even if you want to bring Queen off the bench for a little bit, whatever, but that would be my 5. Missy needs to play. Carlo needs to play. Looney can play. Sadiq Bey can play. Everybody else can be, did I say Herb? And Herb, obviously. And Herb, I'm sorry. That's 10 players, right? If you play just those 10 players and everybody else be situational, Jose situational. DeAndre Jordan should never play, but if a lot of people out on injury, he's situational. Hawkins is situational. Peavy is technically right now situational, but we don't even know what Peavy can bring to the floor because he hasn't got an opportunity. Not saying that he needs to, but that's another defensive player that got size that might be able to shoot. Who knows what Peavy is going to be capable of when he gets his opportunity. So I'm just saying there's 10 players that we name that like legitimately should get minutes to be able to play the style that you want to play. Trey needs to start the man above if he wants those shots because Willie ain't drawing up nothing for nobody. Willie ain't drawing up nothing for nobody. But what they could do and should do, because Willie don't draw up anything, y'all might as well create your own offensive principles. I'm to that point. If Willie not getting fired, right? If Willie is not getting fired, and it don't look like he's going to get fired, which is crazy where we was at. Well, I'll say this. Willie's absolutely capable of another 6-game losing streak, another 10-game losing streak. Like, it could start today. Like, that's a real possibility. But what I would do if I'm the players, when they say, look, we need to figure this out on our own, I would just go to Borrego on our own and be like, hey, bro, what's the offensive principles? What's the offensive concepts? So we could just do it. We doing it on our own anyway. Trey let you know in his interview. Yeah, we just got to figure this out on our own. Words have meaning, man. Even though he should start demanding the ball, absolutely. Team stars 0-6 who do not make the playoffs. History against us. At this point, I'm not even predicting us to make the play. As long as Willie Green is here, I'm not predicting us to make the playoffs because I don't think he can be consistently competent enough to not to put his team at a deficit in most matchups on most nights. Because Derek Queen he didn't even play that much. Even if you think about it, we're talking about Derek Queen in the great game that he had, but he still didn't play that much. He just got going. And it was like, oh, wait, we kind of gotta leave him out there. Right? We do, huh? You sure? Because I say, bro, I could just see a situation where games like we see it all the time. Players get rolling. Thankfully, he wouldn't like that in the first half. Because if he would have started hot in the first half, similar to how Carlo started hot, right? And you saw Carlo, you could have just started Carlo, and not saying that Looney couldn't play the second half. But you could have just started Carlo in the second half. All right, look, bro, Carlo got it going. He bring that lineup look good with Carlo in it. Let's start the third with that. You still ended up losing the third quarter by 10 points. By 10 points. Just not playing the people that were playing well. And then Queen barely was getting burned. We can get Dallas and Zion playing. I think Dallas is not good. We talked about Dallas not being listen, other than the Pelicans being god awful, most of the league look about like what we predicted that it would look like. Like it looked like what we thought it would look like. And I do think Zion's gonna play. I'm not sure if the hamstring is, not saying that it's not a real thing, but I think when you're getting ready to like kind of have scheduled sits, and not saying that Z should have scheduled sits this early in the season and stuff, but Chaz kind of mentioned on this show, there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes and all of that. Players damn near having a mutiny and whatnot. But if they're gonna give Zion the schedule sit to a degree, you kind of got to give a reason. But I do think he plays against Dallas and gets ready for the Anthony Davis matchup. Realistically, if we're doing well, we just need to damage control that pick. If we aren't doing anything, exactly, you ain't got to necessarily make the playoffs, which you want to guarantee that the pick is at least like 15 down, right? Like if you make the playoffs, then your pick is like 50. You're not in the lottery. And if that's the case, then you're not worried about it. So it's like, oh, then it's comparing like, okay, Derek Queen is better than next year's pick 15. And it looks like it. Like everything we've seen from Derek Queen from college to when he's touched the court, when he's actually got an opportunity to play, the guy is a smart, high IQ basketball player that, guess what? And I keep saying this, his game is what it was when you drafted him. Like at the end of the day, that's what you want. Can you do what it is we drafted you to do? The handle is real. The IQ is real. The passing is real. The defensive IQ is real. Like the rebounding is solid. So like imagine when he gets more comfortable, because he's still not getting minutes and he's just starting to practice. Imagine this dude. Imagine him and Fierce had a bad game, but that shit don't matter. The only thing I'm concerned with Fierce is I personally still think they're putting him at a disadvantage by putting him in the starting lineup. It was okay yesterday because Zion was out, but I think putting him in the starting lineup is a disadvantage to him because he's not able to play to his strengths. He has too many things to worry about as opposed to on the second unit. He could just come in, be aggressive, play make, you know what I mean? Like attack the floor. He doesn't have to worry about, I got to get Trey going. I got to get this one. It's too many things to do. And he's doing a good job. He is doing a good job. He looks like he won't be coming out. I don't think he's going to be coming out the starting lineup anyway. But, you know, I just think he and the team would be in a better position if he came off the bench. Dallas don't have Lively and Anthony Davis tonight. That don't mean nothing, dog. That don't mean nothing. Anytime we think something like Willie Green is capable of losing any game by 32. Because again, while you think we're going to look a certain type of way, we could come out and play completely different. So if Willie Green was a good coach, you realistically could be 5-2 right now. You could be 5-2 right now if Willie Green was good. How you say 5-2? Okay, you should have won against Memphis. You should have beat the Spurs. You did beat the Hornets. Boston at the time, while Boston is a championship organization, Boston was 0-3, just like you, and you were still, as bad as you played, you were still down 5 in the fourth quarter in that game. You should have beat Boston. I don't care what nobody say, in my opinion. And if you play, if they don't get off, and I just think that was the lineups and whatnot against the Clippers, I think you beat the Clippers. You wasn't beating OKC and you wasn't beating Denver. I think you really could and should be 5-2. But I also have like Bay since he was in Detroit. Sadiq Bey solid, man. Herb Jones and Trey Murphy are starting to come along, starting to get their confidence, get their rhythm. You know, the draft finna be good too. You can always get back in the draft. Zion finna eat Coop. That's crazy. That's I'm gonna have to. That's a little wild. Pause. We gotta pause that one. It's gonna be rough without Z for the next 2 weeks. They just announced Z out for 2 weeks or something. Did they just announce that? And even if they did announce that, I think the benefit of this particular team, if the coach coached properly, you are in more of a situation. You are more capable now to play without Z than you're more capable to play without Z than you have been before, because you have more playmakers and more people that can do things. The problem is we do not. Say, dog, they're probably getting ready to move him, dog. They're probably getting ready. I think the preparation to move him is underway. I don't want to get over. I don't want to go overboard. 7 to 10 weeks. Weeks or days? This say reevaluated in 10 days. This say 7 to 10 weeks. We gotta get consistency. 7 to 10 weeks is 2.5 months. Z gone, dog. Z gone. The move about to be made this year. Oh, days. Woo! That's crazy. Yes. 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 I don't want to believe it, but the way, if there, let's say hypothetically, the mandate was real, right? Essentially, they picking a side right now. They choosing Willie Green. If the mandate was real and you need to, and it was, you got to keep Willie and you had to move Zion, which initially what the original mandate was, and then Dumars said, I kind of want to get an opportunity to work with him, get him in shape, probably rehab trade value, right? And then when the season start, Zion has been great, but I don't know if Zion is and you know what, dog? You know what? The team been so bad at times. I'm just like, whatever. But if you move him, you just got to get your first for this year. Not your first, but a first. The first team I'm contacting is the Hawks. First team you contact is the Hawks. Y'all want Z? Come on, we give you Z and we'll give you Z and Trae Young so y'all can figure out y'all future. Maybe Bryson Love Zion. You know, maybe he need to change the scenery. I don't know. I don't want to trade Z, but the way things are looking, it seems like the decision has been made on which side they're gonna be on, and that seems like Willie Green, even though he's god awful and will continue to be god awful. But you know, Zion, I think, hasn't done himself any favors. Moving to Brooklyn for Nick Claxton, Cam Thomas, and a pick or two. Said, I wouldn't mind having Cam on this team. If you move, I don't know necessarily about Nick Claxton, but they got some offers. I'd have to really look at it. I think Z is an off-season trade no matter what. So if it were me, I wouldn't move Z during the season. Because I wouldn't move Z during the season, because unless somebody is desperate, or unless he like if he came back and was like, just every time he's played, he's looked, other than I think I forgot which game that was it the Nuggets game where it was god awful? I think it was that game where he didn't look good. But other than that, Z has been looking amazing, to be honest. So like, it's possible that you can move him and get stuff for him. But like, I don't know. Typically, you get lowballed during the season, and with the team performing as bad as they're performing right now, ain't nobody, and they know you don't have a first. Team's not gonna look to just like, oh, we'll give you whatever you want for Zion, because they're gonna look at it like, oh, you just trying to get off him. So I would probably wait. So if we fire Willie before the Z trade deadline, whenever that is, you think Z stays? Yes. They might get off of both and transition into, because Queen looks like he needs more minutes. Queen does need more minutes. Fears needs minutes. Like, all of them need to play. I think you can play them together, but like, I just don't think Willie Green is the guy. I don't think he's a good coach. So at the end of the day, I don't think it helps. But at the same time, like, if there's a a mandate or whatever from ownership, then at some point they're gonna have to choose. At some point they're gonna have to choose because Willie is not good, and you can like they asked Willie Green, have you spoken to Zion about the injury? And he was just like, no. I'm like, what the dog? That's your star player. What you mean you ain't talk? That goes to show you the relationship between the two. They don't get down. They don't get down. I ain't talking to Zion about nothing. That's basically what that told me. Utah for Walker, Keontae George, and a pick. You got options. You got options. At the end of the day, Z still 27 right now. He like 27, 9, 5, and was leading the league in steals. We lost. Night. I don't see us beating Dallas and the next 5 games. No, I'm not saying that. Who's our next 5 again? I'm not sure. I'm not saying that without Z, you absolutely gonna be in the deficit, but I think you're gonna be more equipped. You're gonna be more equipped to handle it. You're gonna be more equipped to handle it. I also wonder if like this is a way of forcing Queen minutes. Because if Zion play, unless you got like major injuries, Queen don't play for whatever reason. Willie can't figure that out. Ooh, news just broke that the Timberwolves supposedly eyeing Ja Morant. Say, bro, if Ja and Z gonna be available, just be on the lookout, though. Be on the lookout. So you got the Mavericks, the Spurs. We not beating this. If Anthony Davis and Derek Lively out, you got a chance because that's just gonna be Cooper and the boys. You should win that game. You should win that game, especially off the momentum of tonight. So you got the next 5. The Mavs, winnable. The Spurs, without Z, that's a loss. The Suns, winnable. Mavs, Spurs, Suns, Trailblazers, Lakers. You can go 3-2. You could go 3-2. I don't know if they will. Whoa, was good, bro. Appreciate y'all for tapping in, man. Hit the like button here, man, as y'all join, bro. It really mean a lot. Appreciate y'all. So the next 5 games, you got a chance of going 3-2, 4-1. The Lakers aren't overly great. Portland, you could beat Portland, beat the Suns. The only team you really will more than likely lose to, it'll probably be the Spurs. Without Zion, it'll probably be the Spurs. But the rest of those, you should be competitive. But Willie Green on Willie Green. Willie Green on Willie Green, man. What I saw last night and what I took is from how they ran the offense is that if you had Borrego, you would see the offense look similar to what last night looked like consistently, and you would tighten up like it would. I think the 3 things you would get a starting lineup that's effective, an offense that's consistent, and it's something that can develop over the season because it is consistent from game to game. And so what did I say? Starting lineup, the offense, and I think you would get rotations. I think your rotations would be better. Who's 7 games we got? Who's 7 games we got for Z to come back? What you mean? What you mean? So those are the things that even in the win last night, I think almost costed you the game. But again, Derek Queen is good. Like Jeremiah Fears is a good player. Jordan Poole is a good player. You have to have these players on the court. And now this is the thing that's crazy to me. Jose played really well last night, right? But because Willie Green is such a, if you're my guy, I'm playing you, he coaches based off favoritism and how I feel and who I like, right? That's why you even see Jose consistently having the opportunities to do the thing that he did last night. And I'm not saying that Jose can't do that and Jose hasn't put in the work to deserve those opportunities. I'm just saying that Jose is going to have a longer leash than some of the other players because that's Willie Green boy. And shout out to Jose because Jose a dog, right? Jose a dog. He can play. He's just not better than Jeremiah Fizz. But there's a time and place. And it's about knowing when to go to certain things. And that's just it where it was. Jose said something about his minutes, now he playing 30. Exactly. Put the word in. Say, dog, what's going on there? Oh shit, my bad. I ain't even know. Willie, like, my bad, bro. I ain't even realize you wasn't in the game. I got you. They talking about getting me out anyway. So, if I'm going down with my people. And shout out to Jose for that shot, man. Jose ain't never. You seen Jose hit big shots all the time, in my opinion. Like, you got to remember that in the playoff series, again, this was years ago now, but the series against the Suns, the rookie year, Jose was damn near closing games, was having real big moments against Chris Paul and the Suns. So we know Jose can produce when he's playing well. It's just certain times in certain matchups you can't play Jose. Sometimes he's too small. Sometimes the shot's not falling. Sometimes it's just not effective. And that's okay because he's a rotational player. Like, and that's fine. So looking at the game overall, it's good to get a win, especially a win at home. Especially a win at home when you need to. Like, I know the players don't like losing, don't like getting blown out. And when you get a win, it just makes you feel like, okay, we can start building towards something for ourselves. Like, they have some equity in not listening to Willie Green, right? Like, because Trey, to me, how I view it, Trey in the interview was like, we got to figure it out ourselves. And then you came out, you played a little bit better, got a win, even while still having to overcome Willie Green. So that's your first win while overcoming Willie Green. And you won't be able to do it. You won't be able to do it all the time or most nights, but it was something that y'all could build towards. And then Poole didn't have a great game, and then Fizz didn't have a great game. And I think they'll play better. They were effective in times and stretches, which sometimes that's what you need. You ain't gotta always be great every game. It'd be nice, but basketball is a game of ups and downs. Like, you're gonna have bad games. That's fine. And good for them, man. Good for those dudes getting the win, pulling together, believing in each other, and getting the win. And in my opinion, got to win. And the thing that I hate is, like, you gotta win for yourself, but like, it's still a win for Willie Green. Like, it's like, oh, you see, guys, it's like, oh, shut up. You take the trash out before I get Steve to come over here and put his damn hands on you again. That's a Kevin Hart joke for people that don't know. I can see that Z can get back versus the Hawks, but we need Willie to be fired. It would be, you know what I wonder? And this is a little next level conspiracy theory, right? This is a little next level conspiracy theory. What if they thought that Willie was going to be fired come this game, right? Come this game, they thought Willie was going to be fired. What if Z was like, I'm not playing for him no more. I can't do it. I'm not doing it, right? And then they're just like, look, we can't fire him right now. For whatever reason, we can't fire him right now. All right, well, my hamstring hurt. And at some point, they're going to have to make a decision, whether it's Z or whether it's Willie. And if you look at it, what they say it was, reevaluated in 7 to 10 days. So in 7 to 10 days from today, what's today? Today is the 5th. Today the 5th, right? Yeah, today the 5th. So by the 15th, that's going into the Warriors game. So you got this 5-game streak. You got the 5-game streak in 7 to 10 days where you reevaluate it. If they do not play well within them 7 to 10 days and you go, again, Willie capable of a good 4-5 game losing streak. You lose all of these against teams that you possibly should win. Some of these are at home. Yeah, you on the road for 3, and then you come back home for the last 2. It's possibly he gonna be. Say, bro, it's gonna be interesting. I don't necessarily know if the injury is a true injury. That's just my thought. Can you see Dumars forcing Willie to give Queen more minutes? Forcing him to give more minutes? No, because Willie's not a good coach. And if he hadn't forced him to give him minutes already after the first couple games, I don't see him forcing him to give minutes now. Willie just, Willie's an idiot, bro. Respectfully. I don't know if you can say call somebody idiot and say respectfully in the same sentence. That's a little hypocritical. Yo, big shout out to DeAndre Jordan for talking up Queen and mentoring. Now, that's Joe Dumars is absolutely, in my opinion, done a great job with the players that he brought in for mentorship. I do not think Joe Dumars brought in DeAndre Jordan thinking he's going to be starting games or playing minutes. DeAndre Jordan didn't even think he was going to be starting games and playing minutes. When they signed DeAndre Jordan, DeAndre said, I know where I'm at this point in my career. I'm here to mentor, teach, give back to the game, help the young guys come along, and when my number is called, be ready to play. I ain't trying to be starting no goddamn minutes. He's here to do exactly what those videos I've been showing him do. Talk to Queen. Hey, man, stand up in your interviews. Don't let people hover over you. Be big. Be physical. Hit everything that moves. You a dog, don't know. Sometimes you don't. That's exactly what he's supposed to be here for. That's what Looney's supposed to be here for. Jordan Poole for Jeremiah Fish. That's what he's supposed to be here for. Sadiq Bey for Peavy, which we don't know what Peavy looked like thanks to Willie, but that's what he's supposed to be here for. So I think Joe Dumars has done a good job with putting vets for the vets. Willie's just bad and not managing the rotation properly. Derek Queen clearly supposed to be playing. Z ain't really look the same. I really believe he ain't right. Probably not, but I don't know. Last time we saw Z against against the Clippers, he was going for 29, 10, 9, and 4, something crazy like that. 27, whatever. And then they played OKC and everybody was getting belt, so it don't matter. I don't know. Maybe not. That game was so bad, I don't think you could put it on anybody. I think with the Z and Willie thing, I think that's a real versus that's happening behind the scenes right now, in my opinion. I think Willie Green, if you listen to Willie's interviews, every opportunity he get to take the high road and not throw Z under the bus, he does not take. And even if you ask him, he just constantly be like, I ain't talking to Z about nothing. They do not talk. They do not communicate. Z be calling Willie. Yeah, Coach Willie can talk to me. What you mean? So, I don't know, bro. I think at some point they're going to have to make a choice. These rookies are definitely keepers. They did a good, listen, you give up, you say what you want about what they gave up. I understand. But Derek Queen was arguably one of the best offensive players in the draft. In a league where you see the players like him be very effective. He's not Joker, but Joker. You can't do nothing with those kind of players. Effective. Sabonis, effective. Sengun, effective. Chet different because he's 7 feet, but you need players like that. And he was not the only one, but he was really the only one like that in the draft. You just got to be able to build around him and emphasize their strengths. I think Willie stays around to All-Star break. The season could be over by then. That dude's that bad to me. He's that bad. Season was almost over. The season's still over. It was 1 win against the Hornets. The way to salvage the season, in my opinion, is you gotta go at least 10-6 in November. 10-6 or better. 10-6 puts you at 10-12, and then you can manage from there. That puts you in fighting position. But if you have one of those, if you lose more games than you win this season in November, it is over. And until you at least at 500, you behind the 8-ball. Carlo is also playing a big role. He's athletic build, goes well with the second unit. Carlo ain't been playing. We know this. You absolutely right. Yesterday was the first time you saw Carlo able to really play significant minutes with the lineups that you kind of like a guard that's going to be able to get him the ball, right? In an offense that has some movement and stuff to it. And Carlo's been doing what we see Carlo do: run the flow, space, be athletic. And like, again, it was the Hornets, but he hasn't even gotten opportunities to do it. You know how many games, like in the games that Carlo has played, or been healthy enough to play. Let me say it that way. Has been healthy enough to play. If you had a player like Carlo just able to run the floor and get you a couple easy buckets, right? A couple easy buckets, or maybe draw a foul or get somebody out of position to where somebody can walk into an easy three because they got to sprint back. Like, it changes. You probably could have already had a win. Carlo and Queen, like, and Carlo, like, more so than Queen, both of them, I don't want to say more so. Carlo and Queen are very unique bigs. The only two that are really like them on your team in different ways, but the only two that are like them on your team, to where you almost have to play them, in my opinion, because how the team is constructed, they both fit exactly what it is you want to, like the style you say you want to play. That's just my opinion. DeAndre is a locker room guy. Team signing for that type of stuff. Exactly. DeAndre Jordan is not here to play minutes. This is the Z been averaging 20. Dog, what's Z numbers on the season, bro? People be out here talking about Z, like, and again, I understand that, like, Z frustrating as hell, bro. Z frustrating as hell. But dog, he had the terrible game. He had the terrible game. But right now, Z averaging 22, 7, and 5. 22, 7, and 5. Let's see. How many minutes Z playing a game? Playing 30, 31 minutes a game right now. No. Had 27 Z numbers on the season. 27, 27. He had the 11-point game when we got smacked by Denver. 29 and then 20. That all right, bro. All right. You got to give some thought to tearing it down. Your young guys look legit. It ain't hard to get back in the draft, and the Thunder ain't going anywhere for a minute. I'm not saying you can't. So this is the thing. You can tear it down, but what does tearing it down look like? Because in my opinion, tearing it down should start with firing the coach. That's typically what teams do when they decide to move on from somebody, unless you know you got a great coach. But great coaches, you typically not tearing it down with, right? Because great coaches don't be in a bad enough position to where you're like, oh, we need to get rid of everybody. So with that being the case, if you're going to tear it down, you got to get rid of Willie first. But if you get rid of Willie, I would want to see what the team looks like without him to know if I need to tear it down. It might not be a situation where you have to completely tear it down if you have some competency at the head coaching spot. You might need to make some moves. The roster is not a championship roster. Hell no. But let me put your comment back up here. But you can be in a more competitive situation. You don't even really know how close or far away you are. You know you're far away with Willie Green. That's what you know. Realistically, you cannot compete with the top teams with that coach. Like, it's not going to happen. So what you have to do is you have to evaluate what your players have under different circumstances. What can they look like under different circumstances? And then evaluate from there, in my opinion. If your computer won't turn on, you don't need to buy a whole new computer. Check to see if it's plugged in first. Exactly. Like, damn, dog, my thing I ain't got no charge. No, throw it away, go buy a new one. No. Hey, bro, shit, that thing wouldn't. I forgot I unplugged it last night to plug in the PlayStation. Let me reboot. And sometimes you might need to change out some things. You might need to change out your graphics card. You know what I mean? You might need to check the hard drive. And sometimes you need to swap some pieces. But to completely tear it down, it's hard to say completely tear it down when the one thing for sure we know is that the guy calling the shots, the guy that's essentially the leader of the team, is not good at his job. And if you're going to keep that guy at his position, then you need like undeniable great talent to keep that guy around. So how I look at it is, I did not think that Mike Budenholzer, when he won the championship with the Bucks, was a great coach. Like we just seen Budenholzer, and not that he's a bad coach, don't get me wrong, but like in his time in Milwaukee, it's just been multiple times I'm just like, bro, this dude not good. Like, he's just not good, in my opinion. But what Milwaukee did was, first off, Giannis is amazing. Clearly, they realized that Giannis was awesome, and then they put so much talent next to Giannis to where he damn near couldn't mess it up. Go get Drew Holiday. Chris Middleton was still there. Brook Lopez was still competent. What we need to sound. We need for Giannis to play better. We need his brother. Go get his brother. We need his other brother. Go get his other brother. You know what I mean, bro? Bobby Portis. Who else they had off the bench during those times? They was doing whatever the hell they could from a roster standpoint. They was trading picks. They was doing all of that. To compensate for Budenholzer, in my opinion. So there's a couple ways you do it. Great coaches elevate. If you do not have a great coach, you need a hell of a roster to overcome that guy. A hell of a star and a hell of a roster. That's the only way to do it. If you're not ready to get rid of the coach, will it compare to any coach? The bar is in hell. Exactly. And for whatever reason, if y'all keeping him because he's one of the boys, then I don't want to hear about tearing it down, and I don't want to hear about Z. Even though this year is honestly one of the first times I was just like, I think we need to move Zion. Right? This is one of the first times I was like, I think we need to move Z. And the only reason I'm like that is because like we're not doing nowhere. We're not going nowhere. And Fears and Queen look good, but like I can't even really say that because I'm like, oh, why am I keeping a coach that don't know to play the big man? And you know what's crazy? Is that like they say we watch film on the game, right? After every game, we had a good film session, we had a good discussion, right? They say that in every pregame interview they do, leading into the next game. Every pregame they interview, yeah, pause. By tearing down, I mean get off Z. So we'll address that. But let's think about this. Let's think about this aspect of it. In every pregame press conference Willie Green does, when they ask him about the previous game, not the post games because they hadn't had a chance to watch the film yet, the pre-games, they was like, yeah, we watched film, we had a good film session, and we see some things that we could work on. All right. So that means y'all as a team watch the tape, or at least I'm assuming y'all as a team watch the tape. So that means you watch Derek Queen in the first game battling against Jaren Jackson Jr., getting rebound. Hold on, man. Let me pull up Derek Queen. So we can have, y'all gotta have an understanding of what's really happening. So you watched, where is it? Derek. Hold on, y'all. I gotta find DQ stats and game logs. Okay. So in you watch the film, right? Everybody's watching the games. And you watch no training camp, no off season, no nothing. A couple practices, the dude come back to play. In 15 minutes against Dang, it went away. Hold on, let me just pull this up on the computer. Y'all bear with me for a second because I'm trying to make the point about why you can't just go to, not can't go to, but I don't want to go to the tear down and just being like, oh, let's just get rid of Zion when Willie Green cannot properly do his job to where we don't even know if we have to get rid of Zion, right? So here we go. You watch the film, and then in game one against Jaren Jackson Jr. with no practice, not minimal practices, no training camp, no nothing. He plays 15 minutes, go 3 points, 5 rebounds. And if you remember that game, towards the end of the game, Derek Queen was very effective in his minutes and when the Pels needed to get back in the game because Memphis had took the lead. Jeremiah Fizz and Queen started playing, and Zion started to come along. Poole was getting benched and whatnot anyway. But okay, game two, right? You got Wemby, the 7'6" monster, defensive beast, right? Derek Queen go 35 minutes, 15 points, 6 rebounds, 2 blocks, 1 steal, 1 assist in his second game. So you watch both of those. Go to Boston. Get ready for Boston to come to the arena, to the blender. No Zion, and say, hey dog, let's sit this kid down. Let's sit him down because he didn't play. He played 22 minutes, but if you remember, he was not really playing throughout the game. 12 points and 3 rebounds with 6 for 6 from the free throw line, 3 for 7 from the field. He almost 50% damn near every game, or close to it. So like, you watched all of those games and then come into which interview it was. That was before last game, but you see him damn near getting DMP'd. I think he DMP'd or damn near DMP'd against OKC. Damn near DMP'd against OKC, had 7 minutes. Barely played against the Clippers. He played 13 minutes. I'm talking about Queen. Played 13 minutes against the Clippers. But in those 13 minutes when him and Zion was on the floor together, that's like they were damn near unstoppable offensively. You see the impact he's having on your team, and you can't even decide when and or how to play him unless somebody gets injured. And realistically, the reason he played so much tonight wasn't Missy out. I think Missy didn't play. So like, you still only could play him when somebody is hurt. So it's just insane to say, and this is referencing the tear it down comment. Like, at this point, I understand moving off of Zion. I don't even really want to, but the battle between him and Willie Green is really apparent and becoming an issue. If you are going to move off of Zion, like, I can't understand getting off of Zion but not firing Willie Green. So my solution would be you fire Willie Green first and see what you have and if you need to tear it down. Because whatever you get for Zion, even if you lean into playing the rookies, which you don't know if he's going to do, right? Even if you want to lean into that, he is not the coach to properly develop and guide these players. They are going to develop the same bad habits and some like. Would you trust your kids with Willie Green? Pause. Would you trust your young, like, that's just when y'all sending people to learn basketball, like people who got sons and daughters and be like, yeah, my kid's been playing, you know, the little rec league coaches or AAU coaches. If Willie Green was the coach, would you trust your kid to go play for Willie Green? Think about that. Love Jose, but it's ridiculous that he's the only person on the roster that can play himself into more minutes on any given night. Relationships. It ain't about what you know. It's about what you can prove. It's not about what you know. It's about what you can prove. That's Willie Green boy. That's Willie Green boy. I mean, I don't know, man. Whoa, shout out you, Calvin, for tapping in, bro. Appreciate y'all. Z Pool trade Queen Carlo is the most obvious starting lineup, and all Hog minutes need to go to Peavy. That's a great thank you. Thank you. Like, it's really obvious. It's really obvious. Bruh, if you played that lineup, and look, I'm all for Joe Dumars has been saying since before we hired him, but since we hired him, the two big lineup is what he want to go with. Now, what I would try to do, and I like Carlo. I want to keep Carlo. Obviously, it ain't gonna happen because we just don't do this type of stuff, but I be trying to go get Kessler. I'm trying to go get Kessler. And imagine Z Pool trade Queen Kessler with Carlo coming off the bench. Like, man, Hogman is already didn't Hog play more minutes than Queen last night? I think Hog played more minutes than Queen last night. That's how you know, man. What are we watching? What are we watching? The dude's not good. The dude is not good. And look, I'm still a fan of Hog. Hawkins played 17 minutes last night. 17 minutes was 1 for 4, respectfully. 17 minutes was 1 for 4. And I'm not saying Hawk don't need to get a look at like a minute, 2 minutes. Oh, he ain't got nothing tonight. Come on. But 17 minutes, Queen beat him by a minute. Queen beat him by a minute, which is insane. Because that means somebody else could have played. So, I don't know. Hell no, I don't even have kids. You don't even have kids, and I definitely can't take no chance of having Willie Green molding young minds, bro. Watching Hawk play live hurt my eyes, man. He's a walking embodiment in New Orleans. Listen, he don't have no confidence right now. He don't have no confidence right now. And shout out to Coach Sip. Me and Coach Sip kind of talked about it on X a little bit, to where you can tell that like the players that are in practice, in my opinion, him looking to his like left and right and seeing all of this new talent and players that can do what he can do and then some. Because if you remember, the only two real players that you had that was able to shoot previously was CJ and Trey, right? And then like after that it was Hawk. Now you got, and Hawk is more like a scorer at this point to a degree than a shooter, right? But Queen can score. Fierce can score. Poole definitely can play. DeJounte is still technically around. Trey's around. Herb's trying to improve offensively. So it's just looking peevy, and Willie not playing peevy. I don't understand either. There's nobody in the league I wish would figure it out more than Hawk. The Hawk that we saw. So you know what I'm interested, what I would want to see. I think, and not that Hawk don't have his own limitations, but I would want to see if James Borrego was the coach, because in there's only 2 games, but in the James Borrego led games, Hawk looked like kind of what they thought he would look like he had some confidence, was able to get, like, knew where his looks were going to come from and be able to shoot his shots with confidence. So that's part of the reason why I wish that they moved on from Willie, so we can see about maximizing parts of the roster that look like dead parts. Like Hawk right now looks, he doesn't resemble an NBA player right now. I am wondering if the new voice, the new face, somebody who's going to run a different type of system, will be able to maybe get something out of Hawk that we've seen before that wasn't necessarily there, as opposed to what we're seeing from right now. Because right now, he has zero confidence. Always missing his first 3-point shot. Teams bullying him into the paint. I mean, yeah. But again, like, I'm not saying that they don't run no sets. Well, one, they're not really running no sets, but like, I just think Hawk, I just think Hawk really lost his confidence, man. He really lost his confidence in showing. Practice was canceled a few days ago because Willie and the player had a heated argument. He realized to go. It's Poole. It's JP. We not standing for this. JP not standing for this. It's really unacceptable. So, like, just to think, in my opinion, like thinking about what this team can be, and you see it in flashes. You see it in flashes. You see it like in times where, and like teams go on runs, I understand, but there's times where you can see, even now, man, you can see the talent. If it was used probably, like, Fears looks like a player. We know Poole can play. We know Z can be dominant. We know what Trey could look like. Shit, we know what Herb could look like at times. You know what I mean? Fears and Queen, like, they look like, if you add those two, like, and you use them to really complement the roster, you can see how you could, like, maximize and be like, oh shit, we really could. That's how I was looking at it, man. If you use Queen properly with the offensive bag and how you rebound, like, that would solidify your bench. Or if you was gonna make him a starter, bro, you know how much movement and motion and, like, how many threats you could have. That's just not gonna be a possibility for us because our coach don't think that way. I'm mad how, if you know we can't stop a nosebleed with all lineups and rotations, should prioritize scoring and shot makers. Borrego would notice day one. And Willie been here for 5 years and still, but that's mindset. It's not that you can't play defense or you can't emphasize defense. You have to emphasize defense. But you play your scoring lineups and say, y'all got to do the basics. Y'all got to do the basics. When you're trying to play people that play defense, when you're trying to play people that play defense but cannot score at all, not only because to play good defense, like, this team has to play good team defense, but you need 5 connected players. And that's part of, like, being on the same page, not being, frustrated. You definitely got to play with heart and effort and all of that. But it's easy to get frustrated, right, offensively, when you're struggling offensively. And then I ain't trying to play defense offensively when I'm struggling offensively, especially when, people not sharing the ball, people not in their right spots. So the whole team concept or team construct falls apart. If you look at what Indiana does during the regular season, not what they did in the postseason, but what they do during the regular season, is we playing all offense, and we're going to get our offensive players to defend. And then come postseason time, we're going to play a style where it's like, all right, it's time to really lock down. I just think that's the way most teams in the regular season is offensive basketball. It's offensive basketball. You got to get buckets. And then, it's get a stop here or there. You just can't be awful. And we've been awful. We've been awful defensively, and we're not playing, the people that would help at least give you the best opportunity on the floor at the same time offensively. So that's just my opinion on that. We're not going to go too much longer because I got a couple other things we got to do. But so, man, again, they got the win. We're not going 0-82. Good. Do I think that it means much? Yes and no, to a degree. Yes, because the players have just recently decided, like, the players went on their mutiny. The players are like, look, we getting Willie out of here by any means. If we got to lose, if we gotta get dominated by 30, we're gonna do it to get him fired. Right? They fought the good fight, and it didn't work. They fought the good fight, and it didn't work. So now they decided, all right, listen, this dude really not going nowhere. If you listen to all of the people that's been talking, that do, that follow and cover the Pels, the players have been trying to get Willie out since the offseason. They do not want to start the season with Willie Green. It's known. It's not a thing. So now they're trying to play for themselves and get some wins because, the uprising was shut down. I think there's still a battle between Zion being the star and Willie Green. And I think Willie Green has ownership and Zion has Joe Dumars. But I think the Zion being out and all of that, not saying that he's not really hurt, but I think Zion being out we're actively watching the battle between Willie Green and Zion Williamson. So, like, as the team decides to play for themselves, right? Decides to play for themselves and get wins or try to get wins, it helps Willie Green's case. Especially if, let's say, the test case is, let's say this is the testing phase. Z, you bothered a little bit. Let's take 7 to 10 days. Hold on. Davis. Denver, when they won their championship, was the 30th ranked defense in the regular season and played defense when the playoffs came around. That's what it is. Zion don't deserve to have this type of leverage. No, he don't. But Willie Green don't deserve this type of grace. So if you saying you moving both of them, I'm good. But if you saying Zion don't deserve the leverage, I respect it. But you damn sure can't say Willie Green deserve to be sitting back and not be able to be criticized. And again, man, it's obvious that the dude is not a good coach. So if you're saying both got to go, yes. But I think they in a situation where they got to choose. I remember shopping at the game yesterday and gave him my opinion of the state of the Pels. Just parody, nothing but pro Pels talking points. I did my part. That's all you could do, dog. That's all you could do. As a fan, as a person who has an opportunity, when you meet somebody or talk to somebody, explain your frustrations, and hopefully it hits the right ears. But here's mine, and Denver defense was not 30, it was 15. So I'm saying you can't be, again, Mike, you already know. I'm saying you can't be god awful defensively. Regular season basketball, you cannot be god awful. You have to be a good offensive team, and you can play team defense and win. You just can't be the worst in the league. The worst in the league, it don't matter. So that's pretty much where we're going with the Denver comment. And again, Denver is all-time. They were all-time great offensively, and their star wasn't just a star. He's like an MVP. He's a superstar. We need to at least have our star be a star, right? Your stars got to be stars. And then we ain't winning no championship, but damn, you can make the playoffs. That's how that go. But my conspiracy theory. Right now, we're seeing Willie Green versus Zion Williamson. I think the players had their uprising, they got shut down. They chose Willie Green, right? And they're still choosing Willie Green. I think we're in a spot where Zion is like, yeah, he might really be hurt or banged up, but I think Zion is like, dog, I don't want to play for Willie no more. I don't want to play for him. So right now, I think you're possibly or potentially in the testing phase of what the team would look like if they decided to move on from Zion. You know what? Give him 7 to 10 days off. We'll reevaluate it. Don't trip. Go chill. Right? You saw what the season started off with when you had Zion for some games and how that looked. Yeah, you could be competitive. You could do all of that. like these two don't get along enough, the players don't get along enough, that ain't gonna work. Okay, so we got to choose one of the two. What does Willie look like without Z? Let's see a extended version of that. So you get another 5-game sample size. That's why people say this probably will be somewhere around 10 to 20 games before they decide on Willie Green. And I think we're actively in that phase right now. You saw the first essentially 5 games with Z and what that looked like. You about to see the next 5 games if he's out as long as they say he's out with the hamstring. You're going to see the next 5 games put you at damn near the 10-game sample size, right? And then you decide if he goes, and all of these games been winnable games. If he's still messing up the roster, if you still losing by 30 and whatnot, then you'll know. The only problem is the players don't want to completely throw away the season. So they're going to actually play now. And I just don't think they're going to be in a better situation. But if they're playing and still losing in this is because of the coach, then I think you'll be more in line with having a decision on what happens with Zion or Willie Green. So I think that's what it boils down to. I think we're in a battle between those two. I think the team it was one win against the Hornets at home. You needed the win, but it's not, you didn't beat OKC. You know what I mean? You ain't beat a top team. So let's be humble. Let's take it for what it is. Enjoy the win. You got an opportunity tonight if AD and Lively not playing, Kyrie not there, it's Cooper and the boys. You should be able to get that win. Like, it should be expected for you to win. And then we kind of go from there. But shout out to everybody that tapped in, man. Make sure y'all hit the like button, share the channel, share the page. I appreciate y'all. Y'all been supporting like crazy. You know what I mean? And we continuously trying to do things to continue to grow the show. If anybody got any suggestions or thoughts or some things they'd like to see, I'm working on getting some scheduling for some guests coming up for these episodes, because it's a lot of stuff that I kind of want to have other people that really follow the game and are in the profession from like different aspects to be able to break down some of the stuff that we're seeing. And essentially what we're doing is we're getting a lot of different sample sizes. So I honestly think it's good because you'll be able to analyze the team in a bunch of different ways. You're seeing the team with Z, without Z, with Queen, without Queen, Poole as a starter, Poole off the bench, Missy playing, Missy not playing. I think you're getting a bunch of different looks at the roster and the team. And honestly, I think it works in your favor early, because if you decide to pivot or do whatever it is you decide to do, you'll have an idea of what you can keep and what you can move and move on from there. But appreciate everybody for tapping in. I'm your boy A. Davis. It's Pels in the Blender. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day, man. Y'all be safe out there on this good Wednesday. Let's you know what? We might end up doing the show, a post-game show tonight. If not, I'll catch y'all tomorrow for the episode. You know what I mean? Following up the Dallas game, and we'll see how that go. Everybody, y'all have a good day. I'm out. Peace.